Well, good afternoon. I will call to order the June 21st meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority. Item 2 is from the chairman, and I don't have anything today. Item 3 is the minutes from the May 24th meeting. Do we have any changes or corrections? Need a motion? We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote.
Trustee Stone-Cypher, would you like to vote?
Yes.
And that passes. Item 4 is a consent docket. We have the oil and gas revenue report and the Oklahoma River Corridor events update. Any questions on either one of those? Need a motion? Cast your vote.
Trustee Casperite, honey. Okay.
Yeah, you can voice vote.
Voice vote, okay.
And that passes. Item 5 is the primary agenda items. Item A is a river maintenance project update.
Good afternoon, Jay Shumway from City Public Works. Our update for the month of June is as follows. Our sediment removal contract is continuing to move forward. They continue to haul off considerable amounts of material and are nearing completion. Our SCADA contract, or our SCADA system, our contractor continues to replace various sensors along through the river corridor, including some magnetic switches, which are kind of a newer technology for the boat locks. Those were both completed at the May and Brum Dam. Our structural inspection has been received, and we're continuing to review it to prioritize the repairs. The river maintenance facility addition, we're adjusting the scope currently on that to include some additional security features within that build. The floating dredge operation, obviously the dredge has been delivered. We're currently waiting on a few more items to make that activity possible. We still anticipate that to start within the summer of 2022. For the month of May, our river crews removed about 38.25 tons. We also had a pretty eventful storm that came through. During that time, all 3 gates at Eastern were 100% open, and we still managed to overtop the dam for about an hour. Also, in the next slide, you'll see sometimes we're gathering a little more than single-use plastics and various vegetation debris. This particular tree is kind of a little bit of a trophy. It's about 47.5 feet long, about 7.5 feet in circumference. Just another one of those items that didn't quite fit in the boat.
I was going to say, how did you get it out of there?
Carefully.
A lot of work, a lot of muscle.
Yes.
Back
Any
on
questions?
the structural inspections,
Yes, sir.
was there anything, I don't want to say out of the ordinary, but anything that you weren't expecting or just normal wear and tear? Anything major that needs to be done to them?
Really not. Actually, we're just looking at which dam is maybe in the worst condition, but all the repairs that were called for by the engineer were actually fairly standard repairs.
Okay. Any other questions? Need a motion? Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. We got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. And that passes. Item B is a quarterly River Sport Foundation update. Mike, you gonna give that, or were you aware you were gonna give one?
Good afternoon. Mike Knop here with River Sport Foundation. This will be a little bit of a repeat, so for Councilman Stonecipher Councilwoman Young. So we're at our first day of summer, and so this is this is the time that we really crank up. And I just left the river. It was really crawling with all kinds of kids and groups. We were in the middle of summer camp season, and this report will kind of give you a look at everything going on. So to start with our financial update, total revenue is above budget at this moment, and expenses slightly below budget. This contributed support at this point showed we were below budget. This was in end of April. We did receive a large grant in May that will start to even that out a little bit. So if you want to go on to the next slide. I just wanted to mention we had National Learn to Row Day where we had free rowing lessons. We're really trying to, again, at our core, when we started this, when I came to the River Trust 20-something years ago, it was about rowing and getting people on the water, and we want to stay true to those roots and get as many people going in the sport as possible. We had the the new CEO for US Rowing in town yesterday. She had never been to Oklahoma City, and we've been such a strong partner with them. She was really blown away. So, I mean, we show very well when they see everything we've done, and they really see us as a model for other communities. But that was always good to see their impressions. So, go ahead and private events are really taking off. We had 24 contracts signed in 1 week last week, and that means that equates to a lot of people bringing their groups down. And I think people are starting to realize it's a really fun place to have a group outing, because not only do you have your meeting in one of the buildings, or in this case, you can see the new tent structure we have. That was a Brahms event where they had all of their employees come out for a full day. You can see we customized the venue map and all the activities they had to do for that day. So it's really, we see a lot of growth in that area, and just we now have enough things for people to do that keeps groups, large groups, busy. You know, too, we have a new esports area that was funded by a foundation, and that's in that bottom right picture you see. Go ahead and move on. And then school engagement. Before the end of school, we had 2 days this year we called school days, and it was field trips from schools across the metro. It's getting more and more popular. We had a lot of kids out. We customized the experience. We're not just doing all the activities. They also are doing like cardboard boat building and racing. There's actually a curriculum that we've developed that's certified that we implemented during that day, and they had just a blast. And so we see that continuing to grow. Go ahead. Summer camps, as I mentioned, we're in full force. They're actually sold out the next couple of weeks, so it's been quite busy. I wanted to share this picture of the ski machine just to underscore, as Jess had mentioned, we've had some big rain, and when you're trying to deal with over 100 kids, it's challenging at times. And so thankfully we've been able to add some indoor experiences so we can keep kids going, and we loaded up that machine. They had a great time. Kids actually learned to ski. And then the indoor rowing tank and everything else that we can do to keep them going, as you can see. But they've been very well received. We've had an adventure camp, a rowing camp, and a paddle sports canoe kayak camp as well. So go ahead. And then I say all that because all of it leads to this. So this is the USRowing Nationals. It was last week. It was in Sarasota, Florida. That finish line tower may look somewhat familiar. They did a pretty big review of our venue before they built this, and it's a premier venue in the country now. And they had the national championship where we took several kids from Oklahoma City qualified and were able to race. So kids can see this pathway of where the sport can take them. Actually, we have an 8th place in the country finish at the Nationals, which is really strong, obviously, in the sport that's typically dominated by the East Coast or California. So go ahead and move on. And then I wanted to mention here that we're not the only game in town in the state with whitewater, because currently there's a $30 million venue being built on the border of Oklahoma. It's in Oklahoma on the Illinois River. It's funded by the Walton Foundation. They, again, are really trying to emphasize this outdoor lifestyle culture, which is kind of core to what we've been doing. And then Tulsa is building a whitewater channel as well. Neither one of them will compare to what we have, but still it underscores that whitewater, and we are becoming truly a mecca in the country and even the world with all the development in paddle sports. Go ahead. And then that leads to these international events that really are helping emphasize that. We formed a consortium with Sarasota and Charlotte to bring some major international events to Oklahoma. And I mentioned this the last time I did a report. Since that, we've been actually awarded some very premier events. That's the most the United States has ever been awarded with these international paddle sports due to this effort. So we'll have a world championship in 2026 in our river sport rapids, and it will bring over 60 countries to Oklahoma City they'll be here for a month, and plus they'll come 2 to 3 times in advance. We'll have a World Cup in 2024 that leads into that, and then several other things. And of course, we also have this August. It's a very short turnaround. We took on those Russian events that I had mentioned last time, and they will be August the 27th, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So go ahead. And then some of the events that we've hosted this spring, the USA Freestyle Team Trials. It's another discipline in canoe kayak where they're doing flips and tricks, and it's very fun to watch. They'd never been to this venue. Again, they loved it. A lot of buzz in the outdoor industry that came off of this. It's very, very viral video friendly, so there's been a lot of video about Oklahoma City through that event. Go ahead. Move. And then the Pan American Whitewater Championship was in Oklahoma City in May, and had many, many athletes from across Central, South America, Canada, and the U.S., and very well received. They just couldn't say enough good things about Oklahoma City. So it was really fun when I get to be on the front lines and hear that. I wish all of you could hear what I get to hear, but it's very, very motivating when you see their impressions, and they want to model what we've done in their respective countries. I wanted to point out, you can see the extreme slalom gates. Those are inflatable gates, are different than just regular slalom gates that are new to our venue. And this ramp is new, and that's due to the fact that extreme slalom will be an Olympic sport in 2024 in Paris. And we've got one of the premier venues for that, and we're kind of helping advance that. So it's very fun to watch, and that was featured at the Pan Ams. Go ahead. And then the Central Youth Championship, I just wanted to share this because this was the lead-in to going to nationals. So all of the teams in the Midwest had to come through Oklahoma City to qualify to go to Sarasota, and this event has grown every year. You can see the number of kids from across. We are the hub for the sport. I was sharing with the city council when we were in Sarasota, ran into Mark Cuban because his daughter rows in Dallas now, which means we're the hub for the sport in this region, which I guess means we'll get to run into Mark Cuban at our venue in the future with his daughter rowing. So go ahead. And then Opportunity Day, we work with Councilwoman Nice and many others on a very successful event where we had over 450 kids from the Northeast side as well as Crooked Oak, and they spent the day at Riversport on May 6th. They heard from Arshay Cooper. They got to learn about rowing. This is setting the stage for the actual teams in their schools this fall. Go ahead in the next. And Arshay is such a wonderful speaker and motivator, and really for him it's about diversity, but it's also about inclusion, about really bringing kids from all different sectors of the community together. And part of this was we're going to now show Arshay's movie, A Most Beautiful Thing, publicly on the side of the Finish Line Tower on July the 1st. And so that'll be open to the public. One of the pastors in the Northeast side is Pastor Mack. He's a real leader in the community. He moved here from Philadelphia. He's really trying to organize the community. his daughter rowed in Philadelphia. So it was a nice connection that there's actually some real awareness for the sport through that. And then the River Bowl is what we're really trying to gear the community towards, which is kind of a companion event to the Soul Bowl, which is in the northeast side. And we're going to have the River Bowl in the river in August. Be a lot of community activities, again, setting the stage for more school involvement. But then we've also had a real exciting, series of developments with our engagement of disabled veterans. We have a kayak football team now, and they play football, disabled veterans in these kayaks, and it's, everyone's equal when you're in the boat, and they can play. It's been really well received, and we actually have the Warriors rowing team. I saw them last night rowing on the river. We have a blind rowing group. So go ahead, go to the next slide. And then Thrive Outside is our program that we've been working on for a few years as a pilot for the nation with the Outdoor Foundation to help infuse more of an outdoor culture into our community among our youth. And it's been very successful. We've had over 386 camp registrants, 15,000 hours this year. And so we expect about 450 kids in our camps this summer. And then you can see the number of field trips, and then we have a partnership with OU Department of Education and Psychology. They received a grant, and so we have a adventure therapy program that's starting. And then we're adding new partners to Thrive. You can see there, but then if you go to the next slide, these are all the partners. So it's a real collective impact exercise where we're bringing kids and groups from all sectors of the community to engage in this initiative that we promote here at River Sports. So, go to the next slide. And because of that, the program is actually over with the Outdoor Foundation, but they're moving on to other cities. But they're so happy with what we've done to sort of set a model. They're going to give us an additional funding for this year for them, and they actually reached out to us and offered that. So that was really great. And then I'd mentioned the Opportunity Day with R.J. Cooper, and then we also promote the Bike Club, and the kids use our pump track and bike park, and we had their graduation last month. Go ahead. And then switching gears, Red Bull Rapids, that's on August the 27th. This is going to be a really large event. It's actually, we've combined this event with the international events to make for one really big weekend. Applications are open for another 3 weeks. People are encouraged to get very creative. There's actually, the awards are based on your creativity with your boat that you develop and whether you make it through the channel, down and people, I've seen this, they've never done this in North America, but when they've done it in other places, I mean, people get extremely creative, like building, like in London, double-decker bus replicas that go down the rapids. So you have to use their material. You can't it's got to be safe and all of those things. But it's a real fun thing to watch. Red Bull will be having this. They said they're going to basically, promote this all over. It's going to be a really big event and free for the public to come watch. And we encourage everyone to enter a team if they want. So it should be a lot of fun. Go ahead. And then that's tying the World Paddle Sports Festival, which will be the World Cup for stand-up paddleboard, which is one of the fastest growing water sports in the world. It's very surf culture oriented, so we're all very surprised they're coming to Oklahoma, but it's actually going to be fun to have that on our river. And then along with the Super Cup, they've never combined all these events together, so we're really doing something unique in lieu of this situation with these events that were to be held in Moscow. We're working currently with the Ukrainian athletes, and they're going to be coming to this event, so it's going to be a really special experience. Go ahead. And then right after that, the next week will be the River Sport Swiftwater Rescue Conference. This is really catching steam. We're going to have teams from across the United States coming for this. They learn swiftwater rescue techniques. We have like the best venue for that really in the country, we believe. And we've actually had to have a tour with a group from Australia next week because they're interested in coming out. And then we have a group from France. So, I mean, this whole Swift Water training side is really growing, and it will culminate in an actual competition where they'll compete in the skills that they learn through the conference. So that'll be fun to watch as well. Go ahead. And then from an operations update, from a safety perspective, there's really, safety is our number one priority, and there's nothing to report. Everything has been going smoothly so far this season. That bottom left picture is, again, what Jess had referenced with this rain. We had this tremendous amount of water in the river. It overcame our dock area, or the river was a real mess, but we got through it, and that affected our Lake Hefner operation because the ceiling caved in on the Hefner old patrol house, boathouse that we used. So it's been sort of temporarily or maybe permanently condemned, so we're having to work on what happens there in the future. So that's a new dynamic. And then the filtration, I thought I would mention, that was just awarded. So we've been working on that filtration project for the Whitewater Center for some time, and thankfully that will start, and hopefully by end of this season we'll start to see that take hold. So go ahead. And we also have a new Jumbotron coming that was sponsored by OG&E that will go up in the venue too. That'll be great. So, and then this is just a look at our advertising initiatives. We have a full strategy to use. We'd obviously like to do more, but we do what we can do and use. Go ahead into the next slide. We rely a lot on digital. That's a big thing, and then obviously some TV. So you may start seeing it. It's just really rolling out. This is the period of time that it's out there, and that's kind of the mix. Go ahead. And this is some of the collateral and creative that's out there. We're currently at a 30% off discount in this period. So, go ahead. And then the Compass Rose Leadership Program. This is something that we've been working on for some time with Leadership Oklahoma City and Oklahoma City University. We had our first major client, which was a bank, and they had a really great experience. It's a 2-day program. They go through a whole assessment, and they implement, we use rowing to kind of emphasize what they learn in the classroom, and it was really effective and well received. We use our Olympic coaches and athletes and equipment, and then they get to have fun as well afterwards on the whitewater or one of the other attractions. So go ahead. And then the Pro-Am surf competition. We have a surf competition this weekend. We're starting to have many of them, and it's going to culminate in this flow tour. In August, we'll have an actual championship here, believe it or not, in Oklahoma City for surfing. We have a surf team now and a group of regulars that are really getting good. It's fun to watch if you ever come out on a Saturday or any day. They're there every day. So people of all different ages are doing this. So kids, but lots of adults. And there's one guy they call the Silver Surfer because of, so it's not limited by age. So go ahead. And then Stars and Stripes River Festival. It's actually was going to be one weekend. We've expanded it to 2. The second weekend we're calling a block party. Part of that's because Councilman Todd Stone is going to be bring his hydroplane out, and we're going to do an exhibition on the river with hydroplane racing, or it's not really racing, more of an exhibition. And then also adding the Thunder dock diving to the dog dock diving to the mix. And so that'll be a lot of fun. The first weekend will be the traditional weekend with all the rowing and dragon boat activities. And then the second weekend will be that 4th of July weekend. We'll have fireworks too on both weekends. So with that, if there's any questions.
Can you tell everybody about Barcade for those that don't know what it is, and what's the status of the project? How's it doing, and when will they open their doors?
My official answer to when is the 4th quarter. So it may be as early as October, it could be December, but if you go down there now, you'll notice it's really changed the landscape of the Boathouse District. When you're in the Whitewater, it's big. I mean, it's a really big building. But it's well underway. It will be, we're actually working, there's a meeting today, we're collaborating very closely with the Barcade team. It's a full-on restaurant and dog park, but you don't have to have a dog to go to the restaurant. I mean, it's a really good restaurant. In fact, it's one of the top restaurants in Kansas City. And then now they opened one in St. Louis. We're the 3rd, and they're very, very popular everywhere, both places. But if you do have a dog, there's a real science to doing this right. I mean, in terms of they have professionals that are with the dogs, dog tenders they call them, and so they keep the dogs happy and playing and all of that, so you don't have to worry about your dog getting into a fight, and you can hang out and have a drink or have some food, and there's a lot of activities for the dogs to do, climbing, swimming. You can go paddling with your dog at our location. And there'll be an indoor facility too, which is unlike the Kansas City location, so it will be year-round, so you can bring your dog inside. You can go and just go to the restaurant. If you want your dog to play, there's a fee you pay, or you can get a membership. So we're working with Barquet on a joint membership that would allow you to have a river sport and because it's all part of this whole lifestyle culture we're trying to emphasize. So should be a really good fit. So.
Any other questions? I was down there, just a comment, down there the other day early for our board meeting, and was sitting and watched the surf rider.
Yeah.
I've never seen people have so much fun busting their you-know-what down there. That was, it was really enjoyable to watch, and because it appears you had the kind of beginners on one side, and then your regulars were over there doing their thing on the other side.
We have a group of people that come every day, and they're it's like they've adopted the surf culture in Oklahoma City, which is fun. And there's a lot of people that now come. We have a new chef, a great restaurant. You can come and just hang out and watch it and have a burger. We have one of the top 10 burgers in Oklahoma City right now. So you should come out and check it out. So.
Very good.
All right.
Any other questions? Motion to accept that report. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Cast your vote.
Trustee Casperite, how do you vote? It's not showing your vote.
It's green on my screen.
Okay, so yay.
And that item passes. Item C is the Riverfront's operating budget for 22-23. This was introduced last month. Do we have any questions on it? Motion to approve that? Cast your vote. And that passes. Item D is a resolution approving financial participation in the amount of $25,000 by the Riverfront Authority in the River Cruiser sales and marketing plan for fiscal year 22-23. This is something, other than the one COVID year, this is something we've done every year to help the cruisers with their marketing plan. Any questions on it? Need a motion? Cast your vote. That item passes. Item E is a lease agreement with the Latin and American Soccer League of Oklahoma, Inc. for an adult soccer league using our property near Southwest 22nd and Walker. They've been down there for a while. They were actually using the property when it was privately owned, and we gained that property in a swap, if you'll remember. This is a 3-year renewal of their lease. David has gone down and inspected the property and made sure that they're taking care of it. So, any questions on it? Need a motion? Cast your vote. And that item passes. Item F is a revocable permit with River Sport Foundation for the Stars and Stripes Regatta. You've heard him, Mike, talk about this, June 25th. Actually, this, because of the scheduling issues, this has already gone to council, have been approved, so we're simply receiving the revocable on this. Need a motion? Cast your vote. And it passes. Item G is, again, Sergeant Stripes Weekend for July 2nd. You heard Mike talk about this. And again, because of scheduling times, we're simply receiving something the council's already approved. Any motion? Cast your vote.
Trustee Williams, how do you vote?
And that item passes. Item H is a revocable permit with Riversport for the World Paddle Fest, August 26th and 28th, using the Boathouse District, Robotic Park, and Eastern Basin. Any questions on this? Mike
Mr.
chose
Chairman,
that, too.
remember when we had problems with the permitting for the fireworks? Now, is the fire marshal permit already included in this?
The permit for the fireworks?
Uh-huh,
No, that's a separate permit that's pulled.
okay.
I'm pretty sure that's a separate permit that's still pulled.
So the timing on that permit for the fireworks, when does that happen?
Well, the permitting for the fireworks is going to come through the fire department. It won't,
Okay.
it's not necessarily something we approve. We approve the event, and then they have to get the permits involved with it.
I just know we've had problems in the past, so I wanted to make sure that it was part of
Sure. So
event.
Melinda McMillan, Miller, Director, Oklahoma City Parks Department. So typically with our fireworks permits, we give permission through our revocable permits through the city and through this body for them to conduct a fireworks display. But it is still incumbent upon the permittee to go to the fire marshal to receive the permits from the fire marshal and get everything straightened out with them. And that language is all very specifically written in each permit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
just
welcome.
needed that clarified for me.
Yeah. no problem.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Need a motion? Cast your vote. And that passes. Item I is a revocable permit with the Fallen Heroes Half Marathon Scholarship Committee for the marathon on September 24th using the South River Trail in Zone 3 of the Oklahoma River Corridor. Any questions on this? Need a motion? Cast your vote. And it passes. Item J is revocable permit with the Red Coyote Running and Fitness for the Red Coyote Half Marathon on October 23rd using the North River Trail, including the Oklahoma Community Foundation River Trail. Any questions on this? Cast your vote. Oh, I need a motion, I'm sorry. Now cast your vote. And that item passes. Item 6, item A is a claims docket. We have one item on the claims docket. Motion. Cast your vote. And that item passes. 7A is the Park and Recreation Director's report. And, aye.
Hello. Again, Melinda McMillan Miller. I just came up to really wanted to highlight the very last bullet item in your agenda today on my director's report. We've been doing a lot of different inspections on the river trails, and one that we did discover, and one that we just recently mitigated, was a new tin horns that have been put, drainage horns underneath the river trail west of Meridian, actually. So that was a constant washout area, and working collaboratively with Public Works Department, street maintenance crews, we were able to get those culverts installed, and so now the drainage has been solved. So hopefully if any of you are on those river trails, you'll get to see that improvement, and hopefully that will now discourage all the water that was running across that trail and causing so much sedimentary deposits. It'll be much improved. So other than that, that's all I had. Thank you.
Any questions? Motion to receive that report. Cast your vote. And that passes. Any comments by trustees? Any citizens to be heard? We are adjourned.